very interesting that now we're getting news that Rishi Sunak is going to see the ethics advisor tomorrow about Suella Braverman. So, rather than this being a warning shot, this could indeed be fatal. The likelihood is that this is something that Suella Braverman might be able to negotiate her way round. It depends how damaging her speech was seen to be this last week, because she was clearly making a stab at replacing Rishi Sunak, not necessarily immediately, but post the election. Post the election, when Rishi Sunak is forced to step down, particularly if the election is lost, which I think is almost inevitable, then Suella Braverman wants to position herself so that she can be a possible contender for the Conservative leadership. And she would hope lead the Conservatives into an election victory against Sir Keir Starmer in maybe not even 5 years' time, if it's a hung parliament. I think that would be an appalling situation, and it could be that Rishi Sunak has a number of these stories which could be quietly leaked to the press, which undermine Suella Braverman's fitness for high office. And the more she pushes against his leadership, the more likely it is that these stories will come out, and the more likely it is that even from the backbenches she will be emasculated. I think she has to face the possibility that even if she is sacked tomorrow, or faces the ethics advisor and an investigation, and is then sacked in a couple of months' time, these extra stories may well come out then, destroying any possibility of a leadership bid. She doesn't have the charisma, for example, of a Boris Johnson. Boris Johnson has been extraordinary. And whether you like him or you don't like him, I can't say I particularly like him, what is extraordinary is that in the way up to power, he kept everybody happy. Generally, when you go up the ladder of power, the cursus honorum, I suppose, in ancient Rome, you jettison those friends that you've got on the way up. David Cameron was particularly good at that. Look at his autobiography. And Mrs. May was particularly good at that. Mrs. May had no political friends. And she was very, very skilled at doing that. The problem is that once she got there, she didn't know what to do. Cameron knew exactly what to do. Boris kept all his friends and kept everybody there. Boris was extraordinarily loyal. Boris's problem was that he didn't know how to deal with the top job. He didn't know how to staff his cabinet with people who were not his friends. Liz Truss, the same thing, because Liz Truss, unlike Boris is loyalty. Boris is about loyalty. Liz Truss is about weakness. Liz Truss is about needing reassurance. Look at those hand movements. Those hand movements are all about a knee. They're just needy. It's all this needy thrashing around. Whereas Boris didn't do that. Boris was very confident, but very loyal. And I'm afraid it's not the Prime Minister's loyalty which is the important thing. It's the loyalty to the Prime Minister which is important. So what is extraordinary about Boris is Boris can actually think. Still, I think he's wrong, but Boris can still think realistically about a comeback. He's probably the only Prime Minister who's ever been in that position in modern times. By the time you've been Prime Minister, everybody in the party hates you. Not so with Boris. It's extraordinary. Certainly so with Rishi Sunak. Even now, certainly so with Cameron, certainly so with Mrs. May, certainly so with Liz Truss. And it's partly because of the shedding of friends and allies as you go up that ladder. And Suella Braverman, I think, has been shedding friends so fast, I don't know whether she's got any left. And I wonder how many people are gleefully rubbing their hands, because you didn't see Therese Coffey eager to support Liz Truss, eager to support Suella Braverman this morning. And I think we'll see this over the coming days. The people who are lining up to support her are few and far between. She doesn't have a lot of friends in high places. She does, however, have a friendship with the Deputy Chief of Staff, Will Tanner, who worked in the Foreign Office. I don't think she has great friends in the Whip's office. I'm not sure who else is a Braverman loyalist. What you see of Braverman, that viciousness, I think, is what is actually there. That's very dangerous for a modern politician.